Hello, Sean Briscoe, CLSB Politics. So, lots of talk. I've been in emails and Facebook posts, and I'm seeing lots of stuff talking about Texas maybe as a swing state because some polling that came out. Um, so, I thought I'd take a look at it. This is the poll. I'll blow it up for you guys. It was ending the 16th of August, so it's a couple days before the convention, and it's got Ted Cruz at +2. You're like, well, Ted Cruz is winning. Yeah, Ted Cruz should be at +8. So +2 is a problem for Ted Cruz. +2 is a problem for a lot of state house seats that anchor their population based in suburbs here in Texas. Uh, +2 is a problem for the Republican Party. And if anyone's not freaking out, they should be. But I would like to make a point. It's a decent sample size of likely voters, which is, but I'll say it again, who's deciding who's likely and who's not. I think there's a lot of women vote out there that has no voter history at all. And they've registered in the last 2 years, and I would not be surprised if we see this number is different in reality. So what did it look like? Well, it's got Trump. It's got Trump leading with whites, Harris leading with African Americans, and it might as well be a 50-50 split with Latinos. We're looking at, of course, with men, Trump is leading, and with women, Harris is leading. And like I said, I think that women vote is floating around out there, and I think it's a much bigger deal than some of the Republicans are making out. So then let's look at calling all red and Ted, because that's that poll that's freaking everybody out. So amongst likely voters, yeah, it's saying 46. It's technically, this is kind of interesting. It's 2.1%, but whatever. We'll call it 2%. And that's interesting to me. I think the women vote, Allred's got almost half the women vote, 49%. I would not be surprised if some of that Cruz women vote is smoke and mirrors. Women that aren't going to admit they're going to not vote for Trump in front of their husband, that kind of thing. Does happen. Cruz is definitely slipping in the polls. So why is he slipping in the polls? What has been the big change that we've seen? Of course, Harris is now at the top of the ticket. One thing we see nationally is that a lot more young people are coming out. And this is the current demographics of Texas, male and female, and by age. Now, that group right there, that 20 to 40 group, is bigger, flat out bigger and more female than the older age groups by quite a bit. Those are the millennials. They're bigger than the boomers. Keep in mind the boomers are the ones that are between, the mid 70s and the 60s, 70s, and 80s. That's the boomer universe. And they are much smaller than the millennials. Millennials literally could take over Texas, and there's nothing that anyone could do about it. Like, even the Republican gerrymandering wouldn't save the Republicans if the millennials decide to vote. It'd be insane. But this is what scares the crap out of the Republicans, flat out, 100%. This is where Texas is as far as average age goes. Basically, the older millennials. And then this is where the United States is nationally. So we're 3 years younger than the rest of the United States. And if the youth are going for a specific candidate and we're big enough and they're all tired of high rent and utilities killing them and all that jazz and all the costs of living in Texas, this is the kind of generational swing that moves states the size of Texas. So this is the United States, its demographics. So again, those millennials, that bump right there in the middle, that bump is what's propelling Harris's numbers up. And as you can see, the boomers are much fewer, as we all will be one day. And you can see a real demographic shift here nationally. Keep in mind, Texas is 3.5 years younger, 3 years younger than the United States. So we're this, but younger. Yeah. So a quick breakdown of what the population looks like, it's minorities 50 and whites 50. So the Hispanic vote will decide Texas, and I because they're the largest voter universe that's split 50-50. So yeah, and then you've got housing and renters. This number is a little weird because this is housing and renters nationwide. I'm sorry, statewide. And in the cities, it can be flipped. You could be 60% renter, 30% owner. So the voter registration and keeping up with that in high density residential areas is a real piece of work, and that's the heavy lifting a lot of people don't know has to go on in these cities to make sure that the vote's clean and that we get everybody out. And those cities are pretty easy to spot. They're the big blue dots right there on the map. But if you see that area around them, those are the suburbs. And the suburbs are where the math will change the most, I think. It's because population-wise, they have to use these suburbs who've been reliably Republican, although slipping the last cycle. They've been reliably Republican since, I don't know, 82. So a lot of the state house seats are anchored on those because they have to have people in it, and there's just nobody in West Texas. So that's how they do it. And they may have anchored it on population that may no longer really be voting Republican, or just demographic changes in general. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But that's also the key to Texas. You got to get in the suburbs, stay in the suburbs, knock on all the doors 4 or 5 times. That's the only way to do it. So then I took a real quick look at the abortion issue and its effect on the ballot. And I ran a couple scenarios through the Electoral College. They're interactive maps. You can make your own electoral, map out of. This is what it looks like if every state that has choice on the ballot, and Texas is still red, this is what it looks like. 338 to 200. The Republicans lose by 70 electoral votes. That's if the blue wall's blue, and every state that has the choice on its ballot goes light blue. I didn't even do heavy blue. I did light blue. And that's Republicans at 50 plus 1 in Texas. Now, that changes when you've got, it drops to 160 if Texas goes light blue. Basically, Republicans 50 minus 1. This is the Republican worst nightmare. I mean, what's really ironic, though, the Republicans will still, even though the Democrats would win the majority of Texas, because of gerrymandering, the Republicans would still control the House and the Senate. And all of our statewide offices are on off presidential cycles because the Republicans in Texas are smart enough not to be on a presidential cycle when they got to run statewide. For one thing, it's a lot less expensive because fewer voters turn out in off cycles, and it's easier to control the vote. So there you go. That's fun. And but that's how big of a deal Texas is. It's the death nail for the Republican Party. So be outrageous, ridicule the fraidy cats, rejoice in all the oddities that freedom can produce. Molly Ivins. She's passed, of course. She's a great journalist and satirist. She called the second Bush president all hat, no cattle. She's hilarious. If you've not read her books, they're absolutely worth reading. You can Google her, and it's absolutely a treat if you've never heard or seen the writings of Miss Molly Ivins. Well, everyone, thank you for looking at this What If Texas is a Swing State video. Thanks for watching. Check your voter status. Like and subscribe. If you wish to support this channel and the work that it does, we have a PayPal at CLSB Politics. All right. I hope everyone has a great day. And stay strong. I'm doing an entire series of these. So this is just